Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It's great to see you. It is great to be back. Oh, it was hard to say that. It's great to be back. It's great to be back with you. But coming off a vacation that's that long, whew, it's hard. It's hard to be back. It's great to see you all, though. Welcome back. I couldn't believe I got a show in place for this morning because it's been chaotic. As you know, if you watch the show, I've been away for 2.5 weeks. So it's been a long time since there's been a live show. This is the longest break that I take of the year, and it is nice in some ways to be back, right? It's nice to get back to work and all this stuff. But we were on Cape Cod, the whole family and the extended family, and it was just great. It was just great. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I didn't really bring treasures to show because, weirdly, I didn't buy a lot of stuff. I bought a rug that I put into the freezer when I got home, and I just took it out yesterday and laid it out because it was a nice sunny day. So it's good to have it be really cold and then really hot in the sun. The extremes kill anything that might be in it. I don't think anything was in it. I found it in a really nice shop, but still. So I got that. That was the only rug that I got. I mean, I worked like a dog on some of the new Halloween pieces. We need to talk about that too. And I bought some trinkets here and there, but it was mostly just a relaxing trip. And I have to say, the it was the longest time to my memory since, with any job since college, which obviously was a very long time ago, that I have been out of touch for so long. I mean, it really was weird and eerie, and I just kept ignoring my phone. And when I picked up my phone to check stuff, check directions somewhere, the hours that something is open, and saw that I had messages, I just put stars next to them for when I got home. I never do that. If you're used to me, I answer right away, and I'm always checking my phone. I'm always worried that I'm going to fall behind and I'll never be able to catch up. So this was really different for me, being away and actually being present and not doing work stuff while I was away, except working on projects. And I got a lot done with my hooking and everything. So that was a lot of fun. Let me say good morning. And it was fun. It was funny because the day that I left, ATHA magazine arrived in the mail, and I thought, dang it. So this has been sitting there for a while, and this is what we're going to look at today. This is a beautiful new issue of ATHA magazine. Also, while I was away, Rug Hooking magazine came, so we'll look at this later in the week, and the McGowan Guild newsletter came. So we've been looking at this lately too because it is another interesting, informational, really charming small publication that comes with the holes in it, right? You don't have to be a certified McGowan teacher to receive this publication, and then you can put it into a spiral, and keep them all like really tightly together. But this is what I want to look at today, the new issue of ATHA, because it came first. I feel like I'm falling behind here with our shows and all the things that we need to talk about and stay on top of. But in the meantime, let me just say good morning, everybody. Catherine, it is great to see you. Welcome back. Robin, great to see you. I really enjoyed your photos. Welcome back. Karen, good morning. Thank you. And you are there in clean and clear and cool Black Forest, Colorado. Sounds beautiful. God, the weather has been such a mixed bag. Holy mackerel. Judy, great to see you. Thank you. Kay, great to see you. Welcome back. From Klamath Falls, Oregon. Great to see you. Linda, great to see you. Happy Monday. Oh, thank you. There is so much junk. There is so much clutter. I need to get everything in order. I do have quite a bit of news for you. Nothing big, nothing important. Myra, great to see you. Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. I got so triggered over vacation thinking about doing the show here because, as you can see, there's yarn falling off the shelf behind my shoulder, Halloween projects that are partly done, more just random balls of yarn. I just don't know where to put them. I've got a project behind me that I was doing in a live show, and on the other side, my Persian wool that I'm going to use for something else. Remember when I had the studio, it was like, it was like 1,500 square feet or something. It was crazy. It was 4 large rooms and then one enormous room that was 8 times bigger than the 4 rooms. And I used the big area for the storage. Remember, and I had all different rooms, and I had the mantle in one room, and I had the pink room with the chair. I miss having that. I don't miss driving over an hour to go back and forth, I don't miss that. But I do miss having a space that I really love. So I'm going to rethink this. And we do need to go house shopping because we are starting to go house shopping. It's been chaotic here, and it's been chaotic with the schools. And Jossie's back in school today, but Teddy did not want to go to school. He's got 3 more days, and he said, do I really have to go back? And he's been in such a panic because I just learned over vacation about a bunch of crazy things that were happening in school that I did not know about, that he didn't want to say because he doesn't want to get people in trouble, and he doesn't want to get me involved because when I'm involved, I am unhinged and I speak to everybody in a way that embarrasses him, right? I get to the bottom of things pretty quickly. And I'm not nice like I am when we're together. I am a completely different animal when people are messing with the children and not doing their jobs. So he's kept a lot of stuff from me, and he really does not feel safe at school. And I said, you know what? Then we're not going. If you don't feel, I do not work like a dog, and his father, we do not work like dogs to send him off to school as a babysitter where he doesn't feel safe and he gets hurt and kids are bending his fingers backwards and kicking him in the line as he's waiting for the car pickup, stuff that he never tells me about. It's like, no thank you, Satan. We're going to pass on that. So I've got to figure out what to do if there's any more work that he needs to do in the next few days. But I'll tell you, that's where he's not going. I'm not doing it. And if we can't find a house in a better school system that where an autistic person can be cared for and celebrated and feel safe and get do their best, then I'm just going to homeschool them. I've just had it. I've had it. So he's upstairs having a little bit of a rest because it was stressful thinking about coming back and getting back into school. And of course, at 10:59, when we were about to log on here, the school called for a much overdue conversation. So I'll have that when I log off later. But man, it's been chaotic and crazy here. So that vacation was really necessary, and it really was so nice. If we're friends on Facebook, you saw some of the stuff that we were up to. I went to tons of all of the outdoor markets and stuff they had. I didn't see a lot of hook drugs. I saw some in stores. And if you're in our Facebook group, which is Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club, you saw I found tons of stuff in stores. I found some stuff on the way home. I found one on the way home I forgot to post. Let me see if I can show you. It was in New Bedford, Massachusetts, at the Acushnet Theater Antique Center. Let me see if I can show it to you. It looks like this. It's half in the shade in the picture, and my phone is at a weird angle. I took it sneaky because I didn't know if I was supposed to. It's just a geometric, but I thought there was something just charming about it. I did not get it. It was, I think, 140. And it's got a lot of damage around the edges. It would be something that someone would buy to put on the wall, and it would be a piece of folk art, and you would line up all your tchotchkes or all your fun stuff. Yeah, it's just got a weird shadow, sorry, in front of it, and it would be a great sort of backdrop behind anybody's stuff. When I think about the stuff I have, like stuff like this, right, where I cue myself for the show, my little chalkboard, my painted irons, right, the little painted irons, and some of my celluloid ducks that I'm looking at, all of that would be so nice in front of a nice geometric rug like that. But then the question becomes, how many geometric rugs do I have that I'm storing that I am not able to put up on the walls because we're full up here? The answer is infinite, like not even sure. And do I want to part with $140 to have another one? And the answer to that was an easy no, So, oh, thanks, Robin. It's so hard that I'm not going to start and go off on a bender, but it just seems so strange to me that life is the way that it is in schools today. I'm not going to start because this is its own dissertation, but I find it remarkable that I'm not for brutalizing children at school, and I'm not for shaming children at school or anywhere ever in any situation. But I find it really curious that it is a known thing that there are so many dangerous children, at least in our public middle school here. They know that they're there, and they apparently can't do anything about it. They can't remove them from classrooms. They can suspend them for short amounts of time for specific offenses. I just find it a topsy-turvy world when you know who the bad people are, and they're still allowed to show up at school and mess with the gentle children. I just don't understand how that is not a known commodity and something that can be immediately fixed with a phone call or a meeting. But at this school, they can't even call the kids into the office. Like, they can say, go to the office, but if the kids don't go, they don't go. They can like flip the teacher off instead, or flip over a desk, which they sometimes do, both of those things. And I think, wow, the nuns who brought me up with their signet rings like this in your head when they didn't like what you said, um, it's a different world. It's definitely a different world. I think in a lot of ways it's better to be err on the cautious side and give people the benefit of the doubt. But a year into this school and the stories that he has told me, I am like, uh-oh, heads are going to roll. So we'll see. Dave, great to see you. Thank you. Welcome back to you too. It was a great trip. And I did a little bit of bopping around and looking for rugs and all that stuff. And I am going to go back the last days of July and the first days of August. We're going to go back one more time because it's not quite summer. And I was away for a long time, but the first week it rained every day. And you know what? That's okay because I got a lot of my work done on my Halloween projects for the Mystic Carpet book. And I popped into a lot of shops where I was searching for treasures. I found, bits and bobs here and there, and in the one rug, and it was great. And then the second week, it was incredibly hot and uncomfortable. It's like the pendulum swings very far when it swings, but it was really nice because then it was rowboat times and geocaching times. And I just have to tell you, some of you asked, looking at my photos on Facebook, which you're very welcome to do. I every day of this trip, I think I geocached at least a little bit, if not all day, with my two kids. And it is the most fun thing in the world. And no matter where you are, I bet you have geocaches near you. And if you have kids or grandkids or neighbor kids that you look to do stuff with, this is the thing. For all of the complaints that people have about kids on screens, right? And I can't speak to that because if you tried to separate me from my Atari back in the day, I would have been arrested and taken to juvenile prison. But, so I'm not against screens, right? And I think it's great to learn to do coding and to do all kinds of stuff that you do on computers. I'm not good at it, but these kids are. But, for everybody who says it's awful how much kids are on screens and not enjoying the real world, whatever that is anymore. But geocaching, I think, is the answer. And what it is, if you don't know, it's a hobby. It's like a treasure hunt, and you download a program. It's called geocaching on a phone, right? It has to be like a normal phone, not like my mom's phone. Sorry, Mom. It's not one of those phones, like a flip phone that doesn't have a screen and stuff. But we're going to fix that soon too. But there's an app for it, and you open the app, and I have the premium membership, which is like $7 a month or something. It's well worth it. And you open it and it shows you where all of the caches are that are near you. It locates your location with like a MapQuest Waze type program, right? And it tells you with dots where all of the places are around you and what kind of cache it is. Some caches are just like, there's a big rock that we like on the National Seashore that's called Doan Rock. It's like 20 something feet tall and the same size underground. It's massive, like glacial boulder. And the kids love to climb on that. That is a cache. Like it's not a traditional cache that's a treasure, but it's like they have a special word for it. Like things in the world, like natural things, like rocks and sites that are out there for you to see anytime. That's one type of cache. So if you just want to go sightseeing and nothing to do with kids or whatever, and you just think, oh, I'd like to see some cool stuff in this area, never been here before, show me some cool stuff that I've never heard of, like I'm an outdoorsy person, show it to me, it would show you those too. But the ones that are like treasure have a different symbol. They're green with like a treasure box. And those are things that people have hidden. And literally, I would give Teddy the phone while I was driving, and he would say, okay, I see the next one. Because there were hundreds just on Cape Cod. He'd be like, turn left here. And I would turn, and he'd say, okay, 2 streets, looks like 2 streets. And then turn, and he's like, looks like there's a little, it's an aerial Google map. It looks like there's a little place to park. And I'd be like, oh, there's the place to park. And we would park, and he would get out, and we'd be like this with the phone, almost like a metal detector, and say like, okay, 18, 17, 16, 30, and it'll be like, uh-oh, wrong turn. And then you'd figure out what you did wrong. And it would bring you to a spot, relative spot, where you'd be looking for the cache. And the cache is either a micro, which is like this big. It's the size of a little bullet, and awful reference, but and it's always a magnet. So it's usually sticking to like the screw on a park bench or something like that, something metal. So you kind of know where to look for the micros. And some of them are small, which are like a small container like this, or like maybe like a cigar holder. Remember the cigar holders, something like that. And then there's like large ones that are like a little piece of Tupperware. And the large ones, even the micro ones, have a rolled up piece of paper. And when you find it and open it, you if it's a micro, it doesn't come with a pen, so you have to have a pen with you. You put your initials and the date that you found it, and then you also go on your phone and you say, oh, I found it on this day, and you can leave a comment like, thanks for hiding this cache. I really enjoyed this find. I didn't even know this path was here. Thank you for bringing me to this spot I never would have found on my own. It was like literally 10 times a day. I mean, I graduated from high school on the Cape. These are places I have never seen before. I didn't even know you could go to some of these places. They say private, but like it's a public throughway or whatever. And you think, oh, I can't go down that road, but you can. And guess what? There's like a giant pond with like ducks or a cranberry bog or something. And there's a cache. And yeah, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I'm not an outdoor person. I am an indoor cat. And I hate being outside, particularly when the sun is shining, because then I get burnt and then I get cancer and then I have problems. But in this case, it was like so much fun looking for stuff together. Out of all the ones we did, there was maybe 2 or 3 that we couldn't find. And the notes were that, because you can also get hints and clues and do a little cheaty peaties and see, why can't I find it? And then there might be a note in the log further back where someone said it broke, or it's like the container is corrupted somehow and got flooded or whatever, and then it's like, it's probably not here anymore. So we enjoyed this so much, and this was basically 99% of our trip, because it took us to all of these magical places with these little bridges to walk across and these ponds and these views and these woodland trails that I did not know existed, like dozens and dozens of them. And it was such a lot of fun. It really was such a lot of fun. If you're friends with me on Facebook, look at some of these pictures. You won't believe the places it takes you. You feel like Indiana Jones, you know. It really was like so good. And so the next evolution for us will be to start hiding them ourselves. And now we've got lots of ideas. Now every time we go somewhere cool, since we started geocaching, we think, this would be a good place to hide something. And you could use like a little Tupperware thing like this if you wanted to. But you can also order stuff from the geocache store, or you can 3D print stuff. There's all kinds of programs to make things that look like little acorns or little mushrooms on the 3D printer that we already have that unscrew, that print like threaded. And then you put your paper in there, and then you just, whenever you're bored, you know, talk about fun and interactive. You can look at the phone and go, oh, this person found my thing. You know, we left, there were several caches that we found that totally choked me up, because it was like someone would say like, I created this cache as a memorial to my mom or my dad. There were many of these who died. My grandma, this was her favorite spot, this was her favorite park bench. But it was so nice. And then you could go in there and say, just choked myself up, you could go in there and say, I'm sitting on the bench. I'm thinking of your grandma. This is a great view. Thank you. And I thought, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And people can find our caches. And it was so fun. It was really so fun. So that's why I was invisible and missing in action for such a long time. I was with the kids. We were geocaching. We were eating. I put back all the weight that I lost. It was so much fun. Highly recommend. With kids, particularly with kids in your life, highly recommend. Jessica, great to see you. Thank you. I did. I had a great time. Judy, what a great way to see the area. Yeah, you thought you knew. And also where we live, there's a few where we live that we visited like before, and they're really fun. There's not enough. There should be more. But yeah, it's basically anytime you take a little road trip, or, you know, when I go to like Hammonasset, which is the ocean here, if I take the kids to the ocean, there's a whole bunch on the way. There's lots of places you could hide them, like not obviously in the sand, but there's buildings and things where you can hide stuff and bury stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's such a lot of fun. It's just something to think about, you know, because sometimes, you know, at least for me, when I go out, I have a busy enough life that if I go out, like I need a destination. I don't just like tool around like I'm 16 and I just got my car, you know. which I didn't get when I was 16. But you know what I mean. I don't do Sunday driver stuff well because I'm the kind of person who's like, all right, well, if we're doing it, let's do it. What's our destination? But this changed that for me because it's like, okay, kids want to go for a ride. 90% chance of rain. Let's see what we can do. And I would just open the thing and drive and see a whole bunch of green dots pop up and think, all right, let's go in that direction. And like, yeah, just turns you into a different kind of a person. It really was so much fun. Karen says, we loved geocaching with our kids. We found some amazing places here at home or while we were on vacation. Hawaii was one of my favorite places. I bet that would be super fun. While we were geocaching, we met a family from Hawaii who were also geocaching. There's only a couple times that we crossed and we met other people who were also geocaching because we were like looking weird at park benches or something because they're often like on the metal parts. And going, are you geocaching too? It's only happened a couple of times, but it was fun to see the other people who are doing it. And like weirdly, they're the same kind of people as us. Like they're a bit like, a bit like eccentric and artsy and just offbeat, like a little bit offbeat. It was really fun. Anyway, lots of photos up there. And as I unpack and find my stuff, I'll show you some more stuff that I found. I did find some fun stuff. And I made some great connections. I have a secret thing going that I can't talk about yet. But it's a very good secret thing, and you will know all about it first, of course. So I'll be working on that over the winter. But in the meantime, before I open ATHA, I just want to say, just as a reminder, because it's been such a long time, Gallery Night is Friday. So Gallery Night is this Friday, the 13th. So be sending your stuff in. I'll forward it to our buddy Shannon, and I'll have that show ready for you for Friday, this coming Friday, the 13th. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Send me what you're working on. It's been a really long time. That's coming up. And also just to know that I am finishing up the Rose book now. I need to finish text on it and all that. I didn't work on it while I was away because I didn't bring my computer on purpose. So I'm working on the Rose book now. If you have been working on a Rose and you think, oh, I wasn't going to finish it in time, so I didn't even tell her, you can send it to me now because I'm still working on it, and I will be for a little while. If you are working on the Mystic Carpet, the next Halloween book, or you have questions about that, let me know. If you're working on laundry line hooking, let me know. These are the 3 book projects that are the next projects that will all be out by, the Rose's Tale and Mystic Carpet will be out this year. Rose's Tale will be out probably in a month. Mystic Carpet, I would say late September. And Laundry Line will be out either over the holidays or first thing next year. And then I'll already be working on the Secret Project, and I'll go back to Cordelia. If you remember Cordelia's Color Year, I had to bump one of the books for this year because it got crazy. And if you are working on a book for the Ribbon Candy Hooking Press, the Ribbon Candy Hooking Bookshelf, let me know because I always have time to put that together too. I have my day broken into pieces. There is enough time for everything that is important. That is true. That is always held anyways. So those things are coming up, and I am in the meantime getting ready. I will, after I talk to the school today, I will start making some calls and decisions about a Halloween party this year. So there will be another Halloween party this year. It was a great time last year. I had to cap it last year at, I think, 55 or 60 people. It was fantastic. It was at the Red Lion Inn, and that turned out to be too small for us and also way more expensive than I thought. So I got really burnt with that right before the holidays, which was super stressful. I didn't know there were all these other costs that weren't visible, or I didn't realize that they added all kinds of fees on, it became super, super, super expensive, and I don't want it to be that expensive. So I'm looking for some other places in the same area, in the Berkshires, in Massachusetts, that area there, because a lot of you stayed over for a day or two. Some of you stayed for a week and did the Norman Rockwell Museum, did the Shaker Village, did the Fiber Festival. That was also the same weekend, the big one in Rhinebeck, New York, which is right over the line, like an hour away. And then the 1,000 other things to do, the Edith Wharton House, like the Festival Theater. I don't know if Tanglewood still has anything at that time of year. There's a million things to do. And I know a lot of people stayed and just busted it out for like a week. We did like a group thing, taking a night bus to this place where they carved all these pumpkins, hundreds of pumpkins. and we walked through the trails and saw them. It was fantastic. So I want to plan something in the same area, and I'll get that ready this week and get that information to you, because a lot of people came on planes from Canada. Becky from Indiana, you drove. My buddy Michelle came from Texas. A lot of the people who came were plane rides away. So I am conscious of that, and I will put that into place like really soon. Lots of stuff happening. So lots of stuff happening, including these 3 beautiful publications sitting on my desk. By the way, the Magpies are currently shipping to me, and we will turn them right around and ship them back out. So I haven't seen them yet, but they look, I mean, I've seen them cyber. It looks like another beautiful issue. I have to say, I'm not bragging, but I am proud that Magpie at this point, not that size does not matter, right? Size does not matter with most things in life. But that was not a dirty remark. I was just saying in general. I was thinking about my bank account and thinking that does matter, and I wish it was bigger. But who cares, right? But Magpie is like the biggest rug hooking magazine at this point. It is, in terms of pages, much bigger than ATHA or Rug Hooking Magazine. So I'm super proud of that, because Magpie is your stuff, right? I do usually 1 article for Magpie. Magpie is your stuff. You are sending stuff to Judy Taylor and I, and it is coming together and being assimilated into each respective issue of Magpie. And there is a lot of content in every issue, and I can't take credit for that because it's you who's sending it. I'm just grateful that we have an outlet here and in our Facebook group where we can check in with each other and say, hey, what's going on? What can I work on now? I'm at a loose end. I'd like to do something. You all are sending in such beautiful work, such great projects, such great content that I'm able to easily put together a magazine that is well over 85 pages every time. Yeah, and we can get even more, right? If you send more stuff, we can get a little bit bigger, because we are not a traditional press, and that's the difference. With these traditional presses, I get a lot of emails saying, you always, to me, like you always give a lot of praise, thought, and time to ATHA and Rug Hooking Magazine, and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I, upset about my subscription because I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth, and I fully appreciate that. And all I can say to that is that they are smaller magazines at this point, and I'll tell you why. ATHA is 70 pages. I think this issue of ATHA is 70. This issue of Rug Hooking is 80 even. The traditional presses, the pricing goes per block, right? So 80 is one of the blocks, and then 100 is another. So as soon as you hit these weird speed bump numbers, if you go 1 page over, the price is significantly different. That's one of the reasons. And with Magpie, we don't hit that, because when you're printing the way that we do, like a print on demand format, and we have it online and it's printing locally from other countries as well, when you're going that route instead of a traditional press, you don't have to hire, we're not hiring employees. Judy and I don't get paid, right? We don't get paid. Like, we do this in our spare time because we wanted a rug hooking magazine that was a bit more for everyone, right? That was not really a gallery type magazine, wasn't like a club based magazine. It was just everybody. We both had a passion about filling that spot in the market, and that's what we're doing. So we don't have salaries to pay, and we don't have offices and rent, and we don't have to deal with a traditional press that says, okay, the first 1,000 issues cost this much, but then if you want 500 after that, it's going to cost a third more, right? Because you have to build all those variables into the bottom line, what the magazine costs. We don't have to do that, right? So I feel we are sitting pretty, but we still should appreciate the amount of work and the fantastic content, thoughtful content that goes into the traditional press magazines like ATHA, like Rug Hooking Magazine. So ATHA magazine is devoted to, if you are new to us here, it is devoted to the ATHA chapters. It's basically, I always say this, but I can't think of a better way of saying it. It reminds me of a scrapbook or a yearbook, right? Because there are ATHA chapters sprinkled across the United States, and ATHA is basically a journal that touches on what is happening in all of the different chapters. People from different chapters, on behalf of their ATHA chapter, will write and say, this is what we're working on, and here's some pictures. Or, this is what we did this month. And here's some pictures of us doing it. So we're looking at what the various chapters are doing all over the country and getting a great window into their projects, their challenges that they do, their group challenges, and all of the things that are going on, their shows and events. That's what ATHA does, right? Very different than Rug Hooking Magazine. They each definitely have their place, right? We're all filling different spots, right, with these different magazines. So this issue of ATHA, and this is the summer issue. So the summer issue is June, July, and this is issue 273. With ATHA, they stay a bi-monthly. Rug Hooking Magazine goes to a summer issue that's 3 months and kind of relaxes over the summer. ATHA stays with the program and does the bi-monthly, right? This is a 2-month issue, right? June, July. So the first thing that we see, it's going, oh, I thought I had a tick on my leg right now. I didn't. It was just a little knot from my drawstring. That would have gotten me. I would have had to run off camera right now and just find the tick twister. It's a big tick year out here. I hope you're being careful where you are. It's a really crazy tick year. So the first feature is from White Mountain Woolen Magic, one of my favorite gills, right? My buddy Kathy's out there. Oh, I have to answer Kathy's message. Chapter number 32, and they are in New Hampshire for the most part, although they do have members who come from Vermont and Maine. Really friendly, large chapter. So ATHA Region number 1, chapter number 32, White Mountain Woolen Magic. And this is written by Karen Carlton of Deerfield, New Hampshire. That's where the big fair is. That's where the fairgrounds are. And I will go out there this fall for the fair. I didn't make it to the Fiber Festival because I didn't know in time, and it is about 4 hours drive, which is fine if I'm planning to stay over, do a little geocaching. So this feature is about education and an education grant that they got. So with the assistance of the ATHA Education Grant, our guild has started a Learn to Hook program for all ages to begin learning the art of rug hooking. We receive many requests for classes whenever we are demonstrating at community events, and we decided to promote our own Learn to Hook kits and instructions from our guild members. I think that's fantastic. I'm going to show you the image. Did I put this in? I don't think I put this in. So this is interesting to know, right? Because maybe you can apply it to your ATHA chapter if you're involved in a group. After we applied for the ATHA grant, we began our journey to prepare pre-made kits for students to purchase. We collected the materials of wool, backing, hooks, hoops, and prepared written instructions, including additional resources, where to purchase stuff. So this is so important. And I will say, if you are thinking about doing this, doing outreach, whether it is in your community, in a church, in a library, in a school, if you're thinking about doing outreach and you are using a grant, obviously, and everybody knows about writing grants, like, right, you have to be in that mindset. It has to be someone who's good at writing grants. But often it can be a really positive thing, right? Bridging from demo to actual hooking classes or sessions is one of the biggest issues. Kay, so true. That is so true. So I'll say you are always very, very welcome. If you are not going to go the grant route, if you have it in you to go the grant route, do that, because you'll get money. Everything will be covered. It'll all be good, right? It'll be better that way. But if you ever think, I think I can raise a little money, or I think I can afford to donate use my own money to donate some stuff. This is what I do when I teach at a library that's like in Hartford. That's a really bad area, right? And I'll tell you, when I do, those classes are always full, right? When it's like free, or the library's paying like $5 a person. Of course, that is a loss. There's no way to do that for that money, but there's a few things you can do. Do the grant route, so you have plenty of money, you're flush, you buy the things you need. You buy maybe hooks or hoops or whatever, and maybe people are hooking with wool, and you ask, in this case, you ask people to donate wool. So the guild, hey Ted, hey, come and say hi. I was just talking about you a second ago. Here he is. Hey. There, my man. There, my your hair looks crazy. It looks crazy.
I brushed it too much.
Oh, you brushed it too much?
I brushed it too much, yeah.
Well, you look very handsome. He always looks very handsome. My sweetie.
All right. I'll see you later.
Okay, sweetie.
Love you.
Love you too. So, if you go the grant route, you can buy everything, right? So that makes it easy. But if you are not doing the grant route, maybe you're pooling money together, maybe you're doing it yourself, or you're pooling money together with one or two other people. There are lots of ways to do it economically. And the way that I always do is to get burlap, right? There's so many places that you can get burlap really cheap. No, it's not ideally what most rug hookers like to use, but it works. And I'll grab a bunch of t-shirts or some leftover materials that I have, or I'll go to the Goodwill outlet where you buy stuff by the pound, and I'll buy a bunch of t-shirts, and I'll just it's in my head. I have to cut them up. It's going to take time. This is something that I'm doing. It's not something I'm doing for profit, right? It's something I'm doing for outreach, and that's really important. So there's that, right, where you're like buying the cheapest stuff you can find. And please contact me if you are doing that route, because I can really direct you toward the cheapest stuff, right? I really can. And particularly for your area, wherever you are. I have a lot of knowledge in this area because a lot of people have asked me in the past, where can I get this cheap and that cheap, and what can I use a crochet hook? Yeah, you can, but it really should be like a 3.0 or 3.5. And then let's have a conversation about what the crochet hook should look like, because just a plain crochet hook is probably not going to do it. But you can get people kitted up really, really inexpensively, I would say, for about $10, maybe even a little bit less, $8 to $10 a person. And then there's a lot of variations in between. So this is always something that we can talk about. I always think about putting together ribbon candy hooking kits for this reason, where people, I could offer them at cost with my wholesale accounts as well. I get stuff cheaper with wholesale accounts. So if you're thinking about doing this, please be in touch or send a message. We can talk about it again on a gallery night, something like that. I'm always interested to know when people are doing outreach stuff. Setting up at a fair and just teaching people at a fair is a great thing. I saw in one of these photos, this is one of the patterns that they did, and we saw this together, I think, last year. Oh no, I went when it was the pumpkins. This is this past year. I didn't make it. I'll go again, but they always put up their challenge rug, and this was sunflowers. So this guild, the White Mountain Magic Woolen Magic Guild, is putting together patterns and kits. So this makes a lot of sense. And they're asking people to donate wool. And I would say not just wool, but everything, right? Donate everything, so that there's lots of choices. And then they're putting together, for people who are handy, and you can build a frame like this, just super basic. Of course, it can be just an empty picture frame, something like this, but not, but not fancy and painted, right? And not this big. Just a picture frame, right? And you can see they're using latch backing, which is easier to get and cheaper to get, and they're just thumbtacking it down, right? It's just for the exercise of pulling up loops, and then you move people along, right? If they're enjoying it and they think, all right, well, this is definitely easier than I thought it was, they're going to know if it's doable. They're going to know if they're interested, right? As soon as you start reading a book, you read a chapter or two and you think, I didn't know it was going to be this violent or something like that. I didn't know there was going to be this many dream sequences and flashbacks. I'm completely confused, right? And you want to encourage people to do the best that they can do while you're watching them, so that when they walk away, if they screw things up, they're not heartbroken and then they give it up, right? But it can be done cheaply. And if you have that in your mind, particularly heading into summer and fall, the festival seasons, and you want to brainstorm with me, we definitely can. I could also put together a Zoom or something. If there's a lot of people who are interested, we could have like a group talk and brainstorm. I can tell you what I know about where to get stuff. And it would not be stuff, the kind of materials that a rug hooker would want to use forever, but it would be enough to get people started in a class to be sure that they could be successful, at least starting their first piece, right? So that's something we could think about. And good on you, White Mountain Woolen Magic Guild, for putting that together, for taking the time. I know it's such something ache. You fill in the blank, right? Mad Libs. It's something ache. Putting grant stuff together and getting it right, getting the tone right, representing what you mean to do in a way that is successful, and you get the money. But if you don't want to do that, or you do have extra money, then there's still a million ways that you could do this and help out, right? So great job up there, Woolen Magic, and I can't wait to see you this fall. The next article is about, let me see what my first thing is that I put into the slideshow. I don't want to miss any great slides. Okay, I'm going to hold on that. The next one is a bit of a, there's a few features in here that have a bit of a focus problem. So if you look at them, don't think it's your eyes. I'm going to show you from a distance because it's easier to see, but sometimes the photos are a little bit out of focus and it is hard to look at. And this is a great article. It's a coaster, it's a puzzle, it's a coaster puzzle. Gail Becker of Turlock, California, that's the Northwest Rug chapter, region number 11 and 12. So, yeah, so showing how to do coasters, doing some beautiful whipping on them. And you can see these are kind of log cabin patterns. And, oh, thanks, Catherine. And reversed, right? So interesting and reversed. And a few pages of that, real simple patterns to get started with. So that's a nice feature. And then we go to that piece that I was just showing you. This is called, the article is called Summer Abundance, and this is by Ron Reed, R-E-A-D, of Plano, Texas. And this is the Stash Sisters chapter, as well as the Texas Rug Runners chapter. So bridging the gap between two chapters that are fairly close together, ATHA region number 9. And Ron writes, my first hooked rug was in 2000. I saw some hooked rugs in a B&B in Fredericksburg, Texas. We spent a long weekend there with friends. One friend noticed me admiring one of the rugs and asked if I would be interested in learning how to hook. She was a rug hooker and said she could teach me. Later we found out the B&B belonged to Edith O'Neill. Now that's a name we know, isn't it? This pattern is Summer Abundance. It was designed by Janice Johnson. I saw it at the 2 Stars in Texas Rug Camp in Fredericksburg, 2023, and ordered it from Janice. I knew I would have Cynthia Norwood as my teacher, right? And she's a great primitives teacher too, isn't she? There in 2024, and I wanted her to help color plan the rug. The rug is 33 by 56 on linen. It is hooked in 7, 8, and 9 cuts using as is wool and wool paisley. I enjoy going to 2 Stars. There are a variety of teachers to choose from each year. Fredericksburg is a fun town to visit for quaint shops and great places to eat. That sounds wonderful. That ticks all my boxes. There's rug hooking stuff to do, right? There's the 2 Stars is it sounds like a convention. There's great teachers who show up. It's a cute town with shops and nice places to eat. It's quaint. Sounds perfect. Sounds like heaven. This is a beautiful piece. And if I saw this piece and I had to put a name on it, I would say Edith O'Neill, just because this is what all of her work always looks like. And Cynthia Norwood is, of course, she's written 2 books on hooking in the primitive style, and she's a perfect person to teach. Beautiful color plan here, because we are looking at that antique background and some very sort of dull greens, and that's good, right? Because we want dark light, dull bright. I love the introduction of the light blue in this piece. It's so unexpected. The cornucopia shapes, right? With the light blue, it's somehow has a lot of blue and red, but it doesn't strike me as a patriotic piece. It's full blast, just straight up primitive piece. Nice soft shapes, right? Really simplified shapes, great color plan, limited colors, really looks like an antique rug. It has so much charm. It's just an absolutely beautiful piece. It's a nice article from Ron. I'm sorry this is a little bit out of focus because I took a picture of the picture in the magazine. This article is by Sandy Ducharme of Cabot, Vermont. I think I just saw Sandy, 2 weeks ago. The Grays. This article is called The Grays, 63 Shades of Gray. This is still ATHA region number 1, which is New England. Sandy says, this piece is designed and hooked by Sandy Ducharme of Cabot, Vermont. This is number 2 to number 4 cuts of wool on a linen backing, and it is 30 by 22. She says, I started this project in honor of my daughter Stephanie and her love of horses. I first went to the dye pot wanting to do some 6 value swatches for shading. I dyed 24 different values of gray. Then I selected several as-is plaids from my stash to over-dye various values of shades of blue, green, brown, and black. Can you see how, I'm going to hold it up for you because I think, because it's black and white, I think it's very hard to see that. I'll just hold it for you here because it shows as a smaller piece in the article and then again as a full page. You can see it is it immediately strikes you as a monochromatic black and white, but you can see there are shades of other colors, particularly the green behind the fences, right? There's shades of greenish gray. So some overdyings, the introduction of some plaids. It's just a beautiful piece, fantastic composition with a clear horizon line, a distant view, a figure of a person with two horses leading you toward that vanishing point, which is between the two trees on the horizon line. And the sides are kind of decorated with these fences of different heights, some vegetation, some hints of green. The sky is very evenly patterned, right? Because there is a lot of shading happening here. This is the opposite of a primitive, right? So it's interesting in all of these rug hooking magazines to look at the variety of work that's here. And ATHA is no exception. We are seeing a lot of work that is very technical work, like Sandy's piece here, 63 Shades of Grays, and the grays, and the primitive pieces that we just saw, and everything in between. For example, the next feature is from ATHA Region number 6. It is entered by Norma Bobbitt of Chagrin Falls, Ohio, the Western Reserve chapter. And these are the challenge rugs of the Western Reserve chapter. In 2023, our guild, the Western Reserve Hookers Guild of Northeast Iowa, voted to do a challenge rug, which was to be a friendship rug. The ladies formed their own small groups. Most of the groups chose the same commercial pattern for everyone to hook in their own style and colors, but our group of 6, who had been hooking together twice a month for many years, decided we would each choose our own theme. Each of the group members would design and hook a square to complement the theme of the rug. So the hookers were Linda Gustafson, Pat Keith, Diane Green, Nancy Hagemeyer, Mary Jane Wilderson, and Norma Bobbitt. And you are about to see those sweet faces, but these are the rugs that they came up with. I'll show you each person holding their rug in a second. These just really struck me as brilliant. The article is much larger. They struck me as brilliant because these are very quilt-based rugs for the most part, right? It also got me thinking of, this is a great opportunity to remind you, the next issue of Magpie Times magazine, the theme is barn quilts. So we're looking for anything quilt related, right? Or autumn related, because it is the autumn issue. I do want to make that run to Hoosick Falls, and I want to take photographs of actual barn quilts and hook some of them up. If you would like to do something like that, if you have a barn quilt trail and you want to document it for an article, please let me know, because we could put our stuff together in the same section. If you do any quilting and you want to share quilting as opposed to rug hooking, this is the perfect issue to do that. I know a lot of you are quilters. I would love to see your quilts as well. So, and I would also love to see people who hook quilt patterns, like some of these, right? So there's so many ways that you can sort of enter the next issue of Magpie. The deadline is not until August 1st. So you have a lot of time to think about it and plan, and maybe you already have some things to enter into the gallery section. Most of these rugs, if not all, would work really well in the issue, right? Because we are looking at designs that have kind of a quilt backbone, particularly the top right and the bottom middle. And let me bring you to the photo. God, I feel so tired. Hope I haven't gotten Lyme disease or something like that, you know, excessively tired. You can see each of the ladies holding up their quilt. And yeah, it's just that great crossover vibe between quilting and hooking. I love the way it looks, love the way it feels. There are so many geometrics that look like quilt patterns. Oh, Rita, great to see you. I missed you too, my love. I like all of the ones that are pictured here. I really do. The one in the back, they're all fantastic. The one on the back, second to the left, right, with a lot of browns and blacks. Very interesting color palette. You're only seeing part of it. But isn't that interesting for it's almost like a sampler quilt, with lots of different blocks. I am seeing actual quilt blocks. I'm seeing like the windmill, the courthouse steps, the pinwheel. I forget what the one is called on the bottom right. What's the one on the bottom left? Open, is that not open window? Gosh, I'm going to have to brush up on my quilts. Anyway, something to think about because that issue is still a ways away. And I would love to see some things like this in the Barn Quilts issue of Magpie. Again, deadline August 1st. So the next feature is, it's so much more than hooking rugs. And this is put in by Tina Beckman, ATHA Region Number 2, Lodi, New York. I'm sure I met Tina when I was there a few months ago. Another great guild out that way. And and she talks in this article about how it isn't just about rug hooking, right? And there's very few of us who I think would say, yeah, no, it is all about rug hooking. And I think those are people who are more gallery artists who think, well, this is, I mean for this to be my job and my life's work. And so I'm quite serious about it and have my head down over my piece and I'm working on it and I plan to do something specific. But that's a very small group of hookers, I think. Most of us are just looking to make connections and spend time with each other and have this great thing in common and have this opening, an opportunity to connect with each other. And, you had it for 4 years. This is June 14th. It's life-changing. No, I noticed a lot of ticks around, I have to say. For some reason, ticks don't really get on me, which is so far so good. I just feel so tired. It seems, I'm not tired, and I slept tons. I've been feeling tired for days. It's so strange. Tina's article was one of my favorites in this issue. I found it very inspiring. Oh, you did, Kay. It really is. It is, and Kay goes on to say, found it inspiring about what ATHA means to me. It's exactly, it pulls on the heartstrings, this article. Because it talks about the great connections you make and the friends that you find. And, when you're an adult, there's not, you can join stuff. Maybe you join the garden club or the quilters guild near you or whatever. But, unless you know rug hooking and you find a guild or you find a group that meets up that maybe isn't an official guild, it's harder to do. It's a harder find. It's a more rare find. And when you do, and you fall into this great world, and you find other people who are into hooking too, rug hooking people are a little different than other crafters, and not for good or bad. We're just a little bit different. We tend to be collectors, right? In our mind, we tend to be collectors. Like, you want to make all these rugs in your lifetime. You want to make ones that are primitive. You want to make ones that aren't. You want to try this technique. You love this artist, but you love that artist too. And you're not going to do that pattern. I would love to buy that pattern. I love that artist. We're like collectors. We're magpies. That's why I call the magazine Magpie Times, because we love seeing what other people are working on. Oh, maybe I want to do that pattern too. It opens up so many conversations to connect with other hookers. So Tina writes a great account of what it means, because it's not just getting stuff done and going, all right, that one's done. What do I work on now? Right? That's rarely the mindset of a rug hooker. It's more, we're so interested in what other people are doing for inspiration and to cheer each other on, right? I think we're a very good community for that. So I'm looking through, and there's some advertisements for upcoming things like Solder Village. In case says the community you never expected to find when you start hooking. It's true. It's true, and it's so precious. That's why it's so important to be sure that these bonds, these relationships are lasting, that the guilds are able to continue on. I know there's a couple of guilds near me that are very, very sketchy, like very tenuous. Hard to know whether they will continue because for lack of leadership, people not wanting to take on those roles. We're just like at my church, we're not seeing enough younger people come in. We're just seeing people age out, right? And that's scary. That's where the outreach comes in that we were talking about at the beginning of the show. That's where the outreach comes in. It's not like we need a huge wave of people who are 16, right? That'd be great. We just need people maybe who are in their 40s and 50s, right? Just let's shore up what we're doing and find some people who can fill those membership roles, who have the energy, who have the time. Mostly it's the energy, isn't it? It's mostly the energy. and yeah, and keep those connections going so that there continues to be places where we can find each other in person and spend some time together. There's another article I really liked. It's called The Noah's Ark Project by Melissa Seegers. This is the Dogwood chapter. This is Winder, Georgia, ATHA region number 5. Another beautiful set of rugs. Melissa says, our church has a library. I love a library, don't you? Oh, I do, Melissa, I really do. Recently, I was in a church library and asked if they still had a story time for children, and the answer was yes. Isn't that great when the kids get to go in their pajamas at the end of the night and hear a story? Oh, I just love that. When my girls were little, they sat on carpet squares. Yep, I remember that too. During story time, I noticed that now the children sit on chair cushions. Impulsively, I said out loud, I could hook some mats for children to sit on. This is a great idea. I didn't realize that that's where this was going. I remember just sitting on a wooden floor, to be honest, when I was little, and loving it, or laying on the wooden floor, But when my kids were little, most of the places we went, they had actual carpet squares. You know how you can buy them and put them down as squares with like a sticker back? This is an even better idea because this is more plush and soft. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but this Noah's Ark project was to make squares for the kids to sit on at story time. Now, isn't this fantastic? Because it's doing a few things. It's creating this incredible whimsy. It's creating a soft seat for their little bums. And it is, it's going to be a situation where the kids go to pick which one they want, right? And they're going to go, oh, I wanted the donkeys. You had the donkeys last time. Have these kinds of conversations, which are great conversations, right? Because I'm sure all of these are beloved. Maybe they take turns sitting on the different ones. But for so many people who are hookers say, I'm not going to put down any more rugs and the walls are full. I am still looking to hook. I still want to do projects that are meaningful. This is the perfect thing, isn't it? Check with your library, see if there's a story time, and say, can I make some little mats for kids to sit on? I mean, if you can make them within your group or your ATHA chapter, what a great thing to do. What a good end, right? No pun intended. They go to a good end, the little fannies, I mean. But what a great project. And so there's some nice pictures that Melissa sent in of the ladies, and it shows all of the ladies here. Let me just hold this up real quick. Such a great project, right? It just there is nothing new under the sun, but you never run out of ideas, right? That is for sure. Those two things can exist together on the same plane. There is nothing new under the sun. And maybe you're thinking, oh, I've hooked everything, I don't need anything else. Well, someone else needs it, right? Someone else needs a little cushion to sit on. There's so many things that you can do when you think about it, and get organized with your buddies. I'm going to run over for sure today. Oops, wait a minute. Did I put the wrong? Yes, I have them in the wrong order. So let me just move forward. I put these in the wrong order. How'd I do that? Nope. Wait a minute. Hang on. I'm searching. Yep, wrong order. So I'm gonna jump backward if you're following along with me. This is ATHA region number 6, Vendor's Voice with Georgia Adams of Georgeville's Store. So Vendor Voice is in anticipation of the biennial, which will be Salt Lake City 2026. And this is, again, Georgia Adams of the Georgeville Store. And so this is an introduction to Georgia, who says, my adventures began in 1979 when I took a class with Emma Lou Lace from my introduction into rug hooking, and I was hooked. And a couple of beautiful pictures feature into this article. I love this picture of some finished work, some material. I really love, sorry again about the pixelation with this. Let me just show it to you here instead. Sometimes a picture of a picture just does not work well. It gets downsized twice by the time I put it into the program. I just love this one with the donkey. It reminds me of it's called Moses and Friends. It reminds me of like an El Greco, right? Which maybe isn't surprising since he did so much religious work. But it reminds me a little bit of Don Quixote. I hope that's not insensitive. I just love it. I love the caricature. I love the sturdiness and the weight of the donkey with the plush sort of proddy finishing. hooking, and I love the waif-like feel of the characters. It's a very unusual piece, so interesting to see pieces of vendors who will be there. I hope to be there too. Of course, it's between, I'm going to Sauter this year, and in 2026 will be Tigger. So I'll probably go to the biennial next year. Why not, right? I haven't been to Salt Lake City for years, and I love Salt Lake City. Let me come back a little bit, and I just want to kind of tidy up this issue so you know what to expect. And so this piece was called, hang on, I gotta find my way back now, Eliza. And this was entered from ATHA Region number 6 by Diane Rahasik of Fenton, Missouri. Nope, Michigan, sorry. It's the MI got me, sorry about that. And this is Eliza, hooked by Diane Rahasik. Pattern adapted from a cross-stitch pattern by Donna Harkman. She is 14 by 13 and mounted on a vintage washboard. I hooked her while I was taking a class with Donna. I enjoy doing portraits, and I wanted to try a different skin tone than what I was used to doing. I used mainly 6s and 8 cuts, so that's quite wide, to hook her, and sheep curls for her hair. She has a lace collar and a silver locket. Adding a few different embellishment adds interest. I have used roving for beards, hair, and eyebrows. I love the challenge of a portrait, and I will attempt a Native American next. A Native American, I'm sorry. Yeah, that sounds really fun. So this is a beautiful image of an African American, looks like in Civil War era costume. I think I think it's very poignant to look at. I think it's a very successful portrait, and I really love the notion of attaching the finished piece to a washboard and sort of hardwiring that connection between Eliza and very hard work, right? Hard manual work, domestic work. So I just think it's the perfect way to frame this piece, right? A piece like this, a person like this at this time in history, if you had like a beautiful gilded frame around it, it wouldn't look right, would it? This does look right. It feels right, and it carries a sort of sentiment along with it that I think is very poignant. It's a beautiful piece. Now, this is the, I'm skipping over a few things. Everything is interesting and exciting. I'm just picking so we don't go too long over. So this feature is by Sylvia Gautier of Cody, Wyoming. Oh, I love Cody, Wyoming. That's another place I haven't been for years. What a beautiful main street out there. And the Buffalo Bill Museum is so, so much fun. This is the Wild West Rug Hookers chapter, ATHA Region number 10, designing B Utah full. Get it? B like buzzing bee. Utah like the state where the next convention will be full. Utahville, the 2026 ATHA Convention fundraising pattern. So this is it. This article is in here for you to look at. And I will say this is what the pattern looks like. Absolutely beautiful. This example is hooked by Sylvia. And in this issue, you will see, and I'm sure you can find this by contacting ATHA or going on their website, there is a form that you can fill out to get the pattern. Right, so you can also hook the pattern. So the pattern says, pattern purchases help support our 2026 fundraising efforts. Pattern can be worked as a 14 by 14 square mat or a 13.5 diameter chair pad. Pattern on linen with serged edges, designed and drawn by Sylvia Gautier. The pattern price is $52, which I think sounds great. Continental U.S. shipping included, or $47 if shipping is not required. And then it's basically like an old-time form where you just fill in the form and you enclose a check, right, or money order or whatever, and they send you this beautiful pattern that is also a fundraising effort for the next ATHA convention, Salt Lake City 2026, sorry. Good Lord, Mama. So that's going to be exciting to look at, and it's great to have a sort of reveal of what that project is and what that pattern looks like. Then when I get to the back, there are some sort of gallery sections that are always chock full of fun. Really such a lot of fun looking at finished pieces. They are always so different. This is LB Mike 24 by 24 background woven with wool. Now that is remarkable. Woven with wool. Can you see the background the way it is? I could hold it up for you again. I think you can see it's like a basket weave. So I know that this is something that you can do punching or hooking. I'm wondering if it was done that way. It doesn't say because it's in the gallery section. But I thought, ooh, what a stunning, unusual looking piece, isn't it? This is another one. Again, I'm not choosing my favorites. I just randomly chose ones to show. This is 1700 Fractor Bunny. This is 37 by 29, and it is an adaptation of the oldest documented Easter Bunny in America. And this is what it looks like. I have seen this image many times. It's a beautiful image of this bunny. And you can see he's carrying around his little body a basket of eggs. These are not painted eggs. These are eggs the way they are when they come out, right? These are like grays and yellows, a blue one. Really interesting piece. The gallery is always filled with such a diverse number of holiday examples. The Easter Bunny. Now we've got like a Christmas example here. This is called the Christmas Tree, 26 by 28. This is from the Georgeville store that we were talking about earlier, Georgia Adams. And the Georgeville store is in Cowgill, Missouri. So showing a few of the Georgeville store pieces here. Just interesting, lots of interesting stuff to look at. And we kind of end this issue with an international feature. How American Rug Hooking Captured My Heart by Agnes Derda of Hungary. And this is coming from ATHA region number 14. Her website is www.anna, A-N-N-A, Kamadar, Kamadar.com. And it starts off, how did rug hooking, often considered an American art, pique the interest and passion of a Hungarian artist? And then it goes to explain about Anna and her life in Hungary and how she found rug hooking. And so it's being written by Agnes, I think, in just region number 14. And she's writing about, I think she's writing about Anna Kamadar and about how rug hooking is taking off in Hungary, which is great news. So this article features some beautiful designs that really do have the flavor of Hungarian folk design. I mean, really, that's exactly what we're looking at here. I think that is so charming, being able to represent and further the look of your national design, right, your folk art style of your region by doing pieces that are rug hooked and turning into cushions and wall art, and just beautiful example of how do these things begin. Well, in this article it tells you how Anna found rug hooking, and it tells you about how she is now teaching, and you can see in this spread how she's teaching hooking to lots of people there, adults and children alike. They have the wooden frames. I haven't read the full article yet. I wonder if they're building them, but they've got their frames at the ready, and they are sitting and working on hooking projects using yarn. It looks mostly like hooking with yarn, but isn't that a great comfort and really exciting to know that all the way across the ocean and even across Europe to the eastern side of Europe, there are people sitting around getting together rug hooking. That is very good news. There are a few blasts from the pasts in this issue, and I know not everybody appreciates those because there hopefully is enough content to not do blasts from the past. I know I've only ever gotten negative feedback about blasts from the pasts, I have to admit, in both ATHA and Rug Hooking Magazine. I can't say I typically see them in ATHA, but there is a blast from the past. It's a lovely article, but it's going back to 2014, and another blast from the past from 2015. And I think there's one more, maybe not. No, maybe not. There was those two in a row. So yeah, I mean, it is a good way. If there isn't any more content, it is good to have a fuller magazine. I'd rather see a blast from the past or nothing. But I agree with a lot of people who don't like to see sort of reprised material, recycled material, because a lot of us have every past issue of Rug Hooking Magazine and ATHA. and we have poured over them over the years and enjoyed them immensely and seen everything and are hungry to see some new stuff. But everybody does their best, right? ATHA is doing a beautiful job, as is Rug Cooking Magazine. That reminds me, I have to make another appointment to chat. We've been talking about possible ways to collaborate, me and Rug Cooking Magazine, and things to do that would help with outreach. We had a 3-hour call right before I left for the Cape, and we need a part 2 to that. So we'll do that. We'll come up with some more ways to share what we all love and spread the word and find each other and connect. So along those lines, make sure that you send me what you are working on, or what you just finished, or what you're about to work on, or ideas you've had, something that you've seen, an interesting rug maybe that you bought or found in a store. Make sure you send those to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, and you will see those pop up on Friday night, Friday the 13th, in our gallery show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the next time I will be with you, because on Wednesday I'm headed to New York State with my friend Naomi from Ravensgate Primitives, and we are going to visit Tad Richards, the incomparable punch needle artist. So we will be visiting him in his studio. I think I will do a recorded show just to be on the safe side. That reminds me, I've got to get Kirsten's other videos up from when I visited her in Vermont a few days before I left, remember? I've got to get her videos up so I can make room on my phone to record a great long video with Tad and talk about his work. So I will put that up for you. Depends on what time I get back on Wednesday night, either Wednesday night late or Thursday morning. So you will see that before you see me again on Friday the 13th, this coming Friday, for gallery night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week. In the meantime, everybody, if you need me, you can reach me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, and I will see you all very soon. Take care. Oh, wait a minute. One more comment. Let me just check. Oh, did they? I haven't even opened it yet. I missed all that. I guess I'll find out about it during the conference call, right? I'll see you